And we are live. Hello. Hi, everybody.
Oh, it's time.
Yeah, it's time.
Turn on the mic.
The mic is on.
Oh, here we are.
And the picture's on. So we
Hey,
are
everybody.
here. And
Welcome,
others.
Denise. It's okay if you're not caught up on the replays, but do go back and catch up. Nothing
Absolutely.
we say is a spoiler here.
No, nothing we're saying is a spoiler. And you're not, I'm not expecting people to be able to keep up if they're really doing the work. Because in some cases, you're going to want to dive deep and ask yourself questions and sort through your answers.
It isn't really work that can be done in a week. A lot of it.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, really what we're doing is we're trying to get you to see that this is a lifetime path.
Yes.
This is not a quick fix.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, how you doing?
So we have Denise, Patricia,
Tom
and
other
here.
people who have not yet.
More coming all the time.
More coming all the time. More coming all the time.
Welcome to week 4 of the new Soulmate process, avoiding the friend zone.
That's right. The friend zone is today. So what we want to do is go back over what we've done very, very briefly. And boop. Okay. Defining what a soulmate is. Your definition, T?
Is it up on the screen?
It's on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
It's on the screen.
Oh, yeah, it is on the screen. It's one or in sequence, perhaps more than one for some people, that person that you can have lasting love with, who is your best friend, ironically, we'll talk about that, but more, or different, I should say, than a best friend, in that you have attraction for that person, romantic feelings for that person. It's a lasting partnership. The rock for each other in your lives.
And my definition is it's that person who, when you meet them, you can feel a door open to a potential future. You can see how being together with this person would make you a better person. You can see that clearly. It's a fantastic experience. I've had that experience once in my life.
I've only had it 4 times.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Every time it lasted a lifetime.
I've only had it once as well. So we have that in common. But obviously, sometimes people do experience loss, even the death of a partner. And that doesn't mean that it's the end of your heart's ability to open up to someone new.
It's the end of that companionable journey.
Right.
But you continue journeying. And I remember there's a wonderful, there have been several wonderful films that dealt with this, but one was called Love Among the Ruins with Laurence Olivier. Mm. And, very late in life, these two people found each other. And I remember the very end of, when she's wondering, does it even make sense for people our age to be thinking about this? And he quotes a poem to her. So, come grow old with me. The best is yet to be, the last of life for which the first was made. God, I loved that. I just adored seeing these 2 old people daring to open their hearts and take a chance on love and companionship. And I believe that is available to all of us. So,
and while you may not consider yourselves old in terms of age, you may be warriors in the battle to find your soulmate. So you may feel tired.
Yeah, you may have been wounded. We have all carried wounds.
We definitely all carry wounds.
Let's go on to the next one. So the 5 steps that we've talked about, loving yourself and the heartbeat meditation, just sitting quietly and listening to your own heartbeat is excellent. Adding journaling to that can be a fantastic thing to do. Loving one other person, admitting that you want to love another person, that you want to improve your connection to another human being. The ancient child meditation that all of you should have received is beautiful for that, because we all have within us the instinct to protect the helpless. So it is often possible for us to do things for other people that we cannot do for ourselves. So making a commitment to protecting that child within us is opening the door to being able to connect to another human being, connect to your true dreams.
Another adult.
That's right.
Number 3, this is a hard one. This is where people maybe need to spend a lot of the work, which is understand humanity without guilt, blame, or shame. Processing your past relationships, especially those that have failed, without guilt, blame, or shame, not to let people off, not to forget, certainly, or put yourself in harm's way with people who have been toxic in some way to you. But it's moving beyond those relationships that didn't work out, to forgive yourself for any mistakes that you might have made, because carrying that kind of guilt, carrying, even if you were the one who were, if you were wrong.
And you should take some of that responsibility. You chose them. By taking responsibility and looking at the mistake you made, you can choose better next time. You get to learn. Whereas if you don't take that responsibility, if you don't love yourself enough to forgive yourself, you won't be able to look directly at the fact that you made mistakes. If you can look directly at that without losing faith in yourself because of that love, now you can say, what do I need to do better next time?
So it's critical. It's understanding it and taking responsibility, but not being guilty about it.
That's right.
And certainly not putting yourself in a position where you have to have contact with someone who has harmed you. This is about moving beyond toxic relationships to that healthy relationship that you're looking for.
And you also need to give up any part of you that needs to feel that either men or women are superior morally, ethically, that kind of stuff. Give up that. We're two halves of the same coin. To the degree that you can see that men and women are two halves of the same coin, it's easy for you to take the things you know about being a friend to someone of your own gender and realize that all you need to do for a romantic relationship is take someone who would have been a friend and add physical attraction and an open heart, a more open heart. That it's not on some different continuum. It's all the same stuff. And once you get that, we put barriers down for just friends. We put barriers down for our children and our parents. But love and connection, these things are different flavors of the same energy, which is why we have rules that protect us and protect children, protect family from inappropriate energies, because that energy exists. What you're looking for is someone where you can just let that out completely, where you can just kind of say, I can look at tonight, even I can say, I love you, I desire you, I like you, I want to be with you. I don't have to hold back any of that stuff.
And by the way, everything we say can also be applied to queer relationships, non-binary relationships. It's this notion that in the dating world, after you've gotten a few lumps, you get ideas about what people are like out in the dating scene. And if you carry those biases with you into every new interaction, you may not be giving that new person a chance.
Absolutely. I have never seen any core difference in the queer relationships. I just haven't. It's still the same human stuff. And if you have gay friends and you watch their relationships, especially if they're happy, you will learn things that you can apply to your heterosexual relationship. You'll be able to see, this is just human stuff.
Right.
And you'll stop hallucinating and mythologizing what it's like to be on the other side of the gender line. This is critical. So it's getting in touch with yourself, starting to see what you need and desire from someone else, being able to have a mythology, being able to have a story about what men and women are that supports a healthy relationship. If you can't have a healthy relationship if you have an unhealthy view of what men and women are, or what men and men are, or women and women are. You can't do it. You have to start by cleaning up your own crap, and then being willing to open your heart and take chances.
So let's move to today's subject, which we have called avoiding the friend zone. We could almost also look at it as identifying friendship or the friend zone and what that means. But first, let's talk some definitions. What is the friend zone?
Well, I call the friend zone, that's the space where one person wants a romance, the other person just wants to be friends.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I think that's true. But also, let's say, calling it the friend zone sounds a little flip. And I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea and think we are denigrating somehow the idea of friendship. In fact, some of our most lasting relationships will be with friends. We'll have the same friends after several partners have come and gone. So we are not denigrating the idea of a friend.
No, neither are we using the definition of friend zone that you can find in the incel community, where it's something negative. It's something terrible. Somebody did something bad to you. She friend zoned me. Usually it's guys complaining about women. So take all that they poisoned the term. It's just a description of what happens when one person's heart is more open, sees more potential than the other person does. It happens to everyone. It happens to everyone. Get beyond it. It's a very human experience. And it implies no lack of potential or compassion on either side. It just happens. You know perfectly well that you've had friends that wanted more of a relationship with you than you wanted.
Or you've had a secret crush on a friend, and some of you have had secret crushes you never even revealed. So
that's right.
You don't know what might have happened.
You don't know.
But yeah, that's like when there's just that uneven balance. When I was in college and in my early 20s, that was my sweet spot, was the friend. I was a little intimidated by men when I was a young woman. So friends were people I was already comfortable with, and I got crush after crush after crush on my friends. And lo and behold, for the most part, they never felt the same way.
So let me ask you something. When you were in college, if you were sexually active, were you dividing your sexual relationships in one place and your friends in another? Were those like two separate piles?
Like a triad. I had, and this was not just in college, by the way. I had my friends who were completely platonic friends that I loved spending time with.
Yes.
I had my unfulfilled crushes that I could crush on from a distance, but never, nothing ever really took off with them. And then I had my what do you call them? F buddies. Those people,
sleeping partners.
Those people, friends with
benefits.
Sorry,
yes,
friends with benefits,
or just benefits, but not friends.
Back in the day, we used to call them F buddies. But in any case, those people that you could have a sexual relationship with, but neither one of us wanted anything more than that. And for the most part, those people were not in my just friends category. These were like three separate categories. And between the three of them, I could almost feel like I had like a real dating life.
And I think that there's another category that's in there. It's that was spoken to in that song. I made allusions to it last week. I've got a brand new pair of roller skates. You've got a brand new key. In other words, just like sex is this amazing thing I've just discovered. Let's try it out. It's not a rejection thing. I'm not necessarily looking for a permanent relationship. I just want to find out what my body can do and how to help make somebody else happy. And I think that there can be a purity to that, at that testing.
Early, like in college.
That's all we're talking about is college.
Yeah,
you're away from, especially if you're away from home for the first time.
But by the time you're a little bit older, you're generally wanting to find something more out of those relationships.
I kind of hope so.
Like some better lines, and maybe you don't need three people to fulfill the part of that one person you're actually looking for.
Right.
So let's put up the next. I'd love to talk about how do you know when friendship turns to love? Or, some of you may be wondering, some of you have people you've looked at as friends, and now through the Soulmate course, you're looking at them with new eyes. That's something I noticed on the Facebook page.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's actually great and probably somewhat rare. It happens, but so often, at least in my experience, it's so ironic because everyone says marry your best friend. But you can't just turn to your best friend and say, hey, do you want to start dating? Because guess what? Your best friend is usually your best friend because you are friends. And if it was going to be a different kind of relationship, it's, for especially the longer you've known them, that might have happened by now. And there are people, always, but there's a good chance it might have happened by now.
There are people who are afraid that if they try to turn a friendship into something more than that, they could ruin the friendship.
Well, it's awkward.
Yeah, I think it can be.
Yes.
So I think that if you realize that what you want is happiness, and that happiness does not have to be with just one human being. If the relationship is already set there, if you try some very, very delicate, careful feelers and the other person does not respond, be glad that you've got a friend.
That's true.
Be grateful that you have a friend. Many people don't. And we're going to talk about that more specifically, but go back into it.
But here's the thing, this works if you're talking about a genuine friendship. And a genuine friendship is one where you really like being around this person, and yeah, you're friends. When it's not genuine is when the only reason you have so-called fallen into the friend zone is because you have attraction and romantic feelings for someone who has exhibited none of that for you.
Oh. Oh, being honest.
But you're being like, so,
You're kind of hoping you're going to hang around until maybe they see you.
And then they really start confiding in you about their relationships, and you're trying to be there.
That's right. You're just rubbing their shoulders. That I prefer to keep my relationship such that if that person could read my mind, they would enjoy what they saw.
Right.
That, it's not, I'm not going to be in a relationship with her thinking, I only care about her if I think I can get in her pants.
Because then there's anger. And
that's right.
When maybe you make your move and the other person is like, huh?
And the anger is fear, the fear of being rejected, the fear that you will not be able to find love. So the best thing to do is to start by being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And
actually,
we'll go more deeply into that.
Around this person because you don't want to find yourself in a position where you're actually trying to break them up. They're confiding in you about their relationship, and you're like, yeah, he's no good for you, or she's no good for you.
We got a comment from Tom here that's kind of interesting. It says, the relationship didn't pan out, but there was a woman I was ferociously attracted to. I like that. I had to be careful, I thought, about how much I let show. I needn't have worried. She was interested in me just as much, but had no clue I was wanting her in my life. This is
the one we're leading to. Okay. Yeah. If you're, sometimes you do feel genuine friendship, but you'd like more. You would like a physical relationship with them, or you have romantic feelings toward them, but you hold on and you never say anything. This is where some people find themselves. This is the situation Tom is talking about.
Yes.
And a lot of our comments will be geared kind of toward that situation where you really aren't sure. It's not like you've been ignoring signs for years, or you're just pretending to be their friend. You are a friend, but yes, you also
there may be
want to jump their bones, as we used to say.
There might be some difficulty if they have had experiences with people who are not being honestly their friend. In other words, that their fear is if I reject him, her, will I lose the friendship? And what you need to do is you need to put on the table that no, you will not. That I care about you. If we had some physical chemistry, something else can happen. But otherwise, no. I mean, it's friendship is such a delicate thing. It is such a precious thing. In comparison, to be honest, sex is easy. You can have sex and hot sex with any number of different people, but someone who you can actually open your heart with. And if you find someone you can open your heart with as a friend, you can also be hot with, and you also share the same values. Now we've got somebody where, what's going on here? Is there a possibility? That's the relationship that is worth investigating more closely. Yeah,
and there's a difference between laying out your cards and being open and honest about the fact that while you value their friendship, you also would like to take them out, or you also would like to introduce a romantic element. Sometimes people make the mistake of thinking that if they make a pass and the other person responds physically, that having sex is the same as moving it into a romantic relationship.
No, it's moving it into a sexual relationship.
Not true. If you can convince a friend, or you two, maybe you're a little tipsy. This happens a lot where people are tipsy, and
that's why people drink.
Out, and then the next thing you know, one thing leads to another, and there's all these apologetic conversations the next day.
So that's the When Harry Met Sally scenario.
It's not the same. It's not the same. So sometimes people make that mistake of feeling like, oh, we slept together. Maybe it's happening more than once. Maybe it's becoming a regular kind of thing, and we're friends, and that equals romance. Not if you haven't talked about it. It doesn't.
Because one thing that is true, I had a chance to study some indigenous approaches to sex over a period of several years, and one of the things that they talked about is that the cultures that have spoken of orgasm and sexuality from a smarmy point of view says something to the effect that the intensity of an orgasm is in direct proportion to the amount of your ego you release at that moment. In other words, you've got two different people, and when they come together, if they release their ego walls, they're actually freeing up that energy. Good sex feels like love. I mean, it feels like you're getting a rush
You
of
can.
it really can. I mean, it's that and this is one of the reasons why I think a certain amount of sexual experience is important. So you begin to separate the feelings of sex. Wow, that really rang my chimes from the sense of I love and respect this person. This person is good for me. To be able to separate those two things out without separating them out so much that you can't put them back together again. I think that's another one of those, college is a good time for experimentation things so that you understand. They call it a honeymoon because for the first month, the two newlyweds who were virgins before then are going at it hammer and tongs, and they're melting their ego walls and hopefully creating a bond with sexuality alone that will sustain them for a lifetime. So it's powerful, powerful stuff. But be aware and never, ever use your sexuality trying to get to something else. Trying to say, well, if I have sex with him, he will love me. If I have sex with her, she will love me. Instead of that, let love be love, and sex be sex, and friendship be friendship. And good Lord willing, and the river don't rise, you're going to find that relationship that brings all these things together.
Yeah, so it's just risky to introduce it with, and if it is going to be introduced, make sure there's a conversation involved. That it's not just kind of, hey, let's see where this leads.
Right.
Which is often how this happens,
right.
Or sometimes it's like, well, this doesn't change anything. Now, if you're hearing things that are stinging, but you don't want to acknowledge the sting because you don't want to either ruin the friendship or ruin your dream that adding a sexual component to friendship will equal romance, then you might ignore little stings when people say, this doesn't mean anything, this shouldn't change anything. It will mean something and it will change something, but it may not be the way you want unless you're both on the same page and you've been able to talk it out honestly.
Yeah. This stuff is difficult. It is not easy, but this is what I would call part of adulting, part of the question of what does it take to mature, become a mature human being who can supply all their own basic needs so that they're not going to a relationship looking to be rescued, who can relate their needs to another adult human being, who starts to learn to differentiate between people who will hear what you're saying, get who you are, and the people are just trying to project upon you, trying to turn you into something that you are not.
No, you're projecting upon them
feelings
that they have not really demonstrated, but that you might have.
That's right. So did you?
Yeah,
we've gone through the most
let me go through more of these. When you introduce a sexual component to a friendship, and then an imbalance begins to come into even sharper relief, you may find yourself hearing the dreaded words, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Oh, can you feel your soul crushing?
It's not you, it's me.
Can you just feel your soul crushing? Because by the time your friend has said these words, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, and you've had a sexual component to your relationship, that's when there is a very real danger that friendship will be fractured.
I mean, look, my experience suggests that you can flirt, you can make out, you can do all sorts of things, but the instant you do something that is interpreted as potentially reproductive sex with another human being, it hits a deeper level of your consciousness. Sex is a game for adults. I'm not saying you don't do it unless you're married. Oh, heck no. I'm saying that you be sure that you have matured your emotions, that you know that you are responsible for yourself. You're not looking to be rescued. And if somebody says no, you know you can survive it.
Right.
It's going to be okay.
It's just a conversation, and it might be awkward for a few minutes, but then you get past it. I mean, I remember an awkward conversation with a friend I had in my late 20s. But he was very easygoing around me, which is what I liked. He felt like he was being himself. He was in the comedy. I was in the comedy. I did lighting on this improv show he worked on. He would come to my house. I played keyboard for him. I just thought, obviously, he has a crush on me, right? Like, why is he inviting himself over? And so when I finally finally worked up my nerve to say, so listen, why don't we, go out sometime? And he gave me this blank look. He was gay. And he had never told me.
He thought you knew, probably.
He thought I knew. But in any case, that was why he was so at ease around me. That was why there was no tension or pressure or
Right,
all that
right.
stuff. But the moral of that story is it was fine. It was fine to have that awkward moment. It was fine to have that reckoning. And so we were fine after that. I mean, we drifted apart many, many years ago, but it was fine because we hadn't done anything to damage the friendship. I think honesty is always a good thing.
The dishonesty. Honesty is always a positive thing. A person who cannot handle, I mean, it's like the three doorways, the three gates. Is it honest? Is it useful? Is it kind? There are things that are true, but saying you have an ugly baby, your baby is ugly is true, but it is not useful, nor is it kind. There is nothing wrong with saying to someone, honestly, I find you attractive. If they cannot handle that, then this person may not be mature enough. And yes, there might be some discomfort, but what if that person turns to you and says, I find you attractive too. I was just afraid to say anything about it. Let's go out.
Wow. I mean, if that happens, like you feel one way and they feel that way, and neither one of you had been willing to say anything. So yeah.
And by the way, what I would suggest, if at all possible, is dancing. Because dancing allows you to break the frame and touch each other. I'm talking about when they put on a slow song.
Oh.
Because as soon as you start touching each other, then you get to see, does this feel good? How do they smell? How do they respond to this movement, that
it's
movement?
Not just about the physical. It also has to be accompanied by a talk about, there's a spark here, but what does this spark mean?
Yes. So it's communication. There's going to be emotional communication, communication with words, body language, tonalities, all of that stuff. And the first kiss, of course, is its own kind of communication. Yes. You find out so much about a human being by the way that they touch. And what we want is for you to love yourself enough to have the courage to take risks. Love is about taking risks. Tanana Reeve took a fantastic risk moving all the way across the country to be with me. And I have always done everything I could to live up to the responsibility, the trust that she extended to me. I did not take that lightly. I have an obligation to this woman to be the best man I can possibly be because she is spectacular and she trusted me.
We often talk about how if either of us had been unavailable when we met, we would have been friends.
Right.
And I guess it's worth addressing that kind of friendship. That is a friendship where, because both of you are ethical people, and this is a non-starter as a anything but friendship, then you automatically end up kind of slotted there for all the good reasons, right? And in those cases, if for one or both people circumstances change, then that, I've heard many stories about people who were friends circumstantially, there's also a danger to that. I mean, I don't tend to have that many opposite sex like buddies at this point in my life. I have a lot of friends that I've had for years, but I'm not out looking for new.
Yeah, I'm not looking for new women to get in friends with. If women come into my life and are friends or students like this, I do not avoid that, but I'm not looking for them.
So it's like, it's not the kind of thing where you're kind of secretly hoping like one day that's a dishonest relationship.
Yes.
That's a relationship that dishonors the relationship you're currently
It's like keeping somebody attractive behind glass, break in case of emergency.
But you all know that's how it works out sometimes. Like you might not have even given it a thought. Maybe you met professionally and you just see each other at conferences from time to time and you learn from each other. And it's a completely platonic non-starter for a romantic relationship. And then the next year you see each other, circumstances have changed, you're both available, and now you're looking at each other with new eyes.
So have we finished with this?
I think so.
Okay, good. Boop. Okay, so repeat after me. There is no friend zone. There are only friends. If you love yourself, you are all that you need. The rest is what you want. I want you to think about something. It's that 6 degrees of separation. You're 6 degrees away from anybody in the world, virtually. that means, in my opinion, you're only 2 degrees of separation away from someone you could love with all your heart, who could love you too. You carry yourself, therefore, with every human being you meet with dignity, honesty, compassion, because you want to be the person that somebody is going to say to their friend, I know this terrific guy, I know this terrific girl. I'm not in a position to be with them, but maybe even people hook each other up all the time.
Oh my gosh, I have a couple friends I'm trying to think, oh my, who would be right for them? I know someone I can hook them up with.
I mean, I had heard about Tananarive before I met her from a friend. She had heard about me from another friend. Now, it was a guy that told you about that, not a guy that you were involved with as romantically.
He was a buddy.
If you had been and you'd broken that relationship, you might not have heard about me in time for us to spark that one opportunity we had to meet.
That's true.
If you had burned that friendship to the ground because he was not interested in you, if I had heard about her from a woman, and I had burned that relationship to the ground. So just be kind to each other, both because it's the decent thing to do, and also because you're not more than a couple degrees of separation away from the person you've been looking for your whole life.
Jerry Seinfeld has a joke that people aren't looking for new friends after the age of 30. To a degree, that can be true, especially since I've been married. I must admit, I look for fewer and fewer friends. But if you're single and if you're looking for that special soulmate in your life, part of that journey is opening your world up to new friends.
The amplitude. It is literally, once you know who you are and you're on the path of your life, find things that will help you advance your life that will also put you in contact with other people, where you'll have the opportunity to announce to a room full of people, this is who I am.
And a lot of those people won't be available for romance. But like Steve said, if you're part of a new hiking club, you can't shun, Jerry, Mike, and Fred, and Lizette just because you're not interested in a romantic relationship with any of them. That open-heartedness that leads to new friendships is the same kind of open-heartedness that leads to romance.
Or because they're not interested in a relationship with you.
Right.
Do not be embittered with them. They owe you nothing. No one owes you falling in love with you or being sexual with you. You do not owe that to anybody else. What if you really care about them, I would hope that what you'd want is for each and every one of them to find happiness. I mean, find real lasting joy.
I like what Patricia is saying.
What did Patricia say?
Patricia has a comment on here that as the months progress and she's taking time to work through to get ready for her soulmate, which is great because it does take time.
Yes, it does.
She says as the months progress, she's opening more to her friends, right? And noticing what she really likes about them. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because if it's complete tunnel vision, soulmate or nothing, we don't see those friends around us and what those friends can teach us about ourselves and about people in general that will help lead us on that path to new romance.
So what you're really doing is you're looking to fulfill yourself, whether or not another human being comes into your life in a sexual, romantic way or not. But you are open to the possibilities.
Right.
And so you're meeting people because these people are interesting.
Yeah.
If you're not interested in people, if you're very, very, very introverted, then find clubs where people have mutual interest in something out there so that their attention isn't on each other. And you will find people who might be as shy as you, but are interested in the same thing. And you can strike up a conversation. I mean, somebody's going to have to strike it up. If you find that there is a gap, that you literally cannot meet people, then you have identified some work that you need to do.
Yeah.
Let me deal with my fear.
How can I make myself more available to other people in general?
Yes.
How can I open up my world to include more interaction with people?
This is the work. If I know that I've got a psychological characteristic that is stopping me from being able to do something that I need to do in my life, as an adult, I have to say, nobody is born with all the tools that we need. Everybody acquires most of the tools that we have. If you admit, I want to learn to deal with fear, I want to learn to deal with this, I want to deal with this, you don't have to completely vanquish it. You have to be on the road to vanquishing it. And you have to love yourself enough to accept yourself wherever you are on that road. And then when you meet someone else who's on a matching road, they don't have to be perfect either. You see them. You see their heart. You see that they're real, live human being wrestling with this thing that is trying to be human in the world. And your heart will go out to them. And a blessed number of times, their heart comes out to you too. They see you as you saw them. And that is when a love can begin. It really can. So,
and some of those friendships, by the way, not to blast social media entirely. A lot of people joke about how social media is a negative influence in our lives.
I don't think so.
But I have a few friends that I've made who started out in social media and jumped to texting, telephone, so that we are actually, friends, filmmakers. This is especially good if you want to find people who work in your line of work or a line of work you want to learn more about. Right. So for me, I want to learn more about filmmaking. I tend to meet like new up and coming directors. So we're talking about like favorite TV shows on Twitter. The next thing you know, we're texting, calling, and voila, I have a friend, and I'm a little bit past 30. Just a smidge.
So listen, so whatever it is that you need, what I want to do now is I want to provide you some structure for how to go about it. So now we're going to talk about a way of approaching this that is one of the most important and powerful tools that I have in the life writing toolbox. And it is called the magic formula.
The magic formula.
Yes. Okay. So the magic formula goes like this. Magic equals action times gratitude times intention times conviction.
I see what you did there.
Those four things: action, gratitude, intention, and conviction. So you have a goal. Let's say my goal is that I want to find love in my life. So I have to be taking actions.
Yes.
I have to be doing things to change myself, to begin to improve myself, but I also have to be putting myself where it is possible for me to meet people. Okay, so that's where the A is, okay?
Gratitude is being happy when you survey what you do have in your life.
Yes!
And what is working in your life.
Yes!
And what's just all
I mean, look, because the reason for that, and what is more attractive than a human being who seems happy with their life, who walks into a room happy to meet you? They're so full, they don't need you to notice them. They know that they're here. They're just like, who are you? It's like they're two different kinds of people. One walks in the room and says, I'm here, and the other walks in the room and says, there you are.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
And that comes from having fulfilled your own hungers. You don't need other people to blow smoke up your skirt. It's like this sense of being alive and grateful for life that just consumes you. So it's like, well, who are you and what's been happening in your life?
It draws people to you.
It absolutely draws people to you. It's
energy draws like energy with other people who are similarly grateful and full of gratitude for what they have in their lives. Like, for instance, we may be all a few years older than we'd like to be right now, but guess what? We're the youngest we're ever going to be.
Yes, that's right. Today I'm the youngest I'm ever going to be.
The youngest we are ever going to be. So let's and our bodies move however our bodies move. And if they don't move the way we'd like them to move, there are parts of our bodies that still move the way we want them to move.
Well, look, it's another thing. How often do you see a picture of yourself 20 years ago and you look at yourself and say, oh my God, I was gorgeous. How come I couldn't see it then?
He posted one on Facebook just the other day, and I always hated that picture because it's a bare midriff, and I never liked bare midriff. And I'm like, listen, I wish I had that bare midriff now.
Right. It's just, why not appreciate who you are now? Why not appreciate? If you think you don't have anything to be grateful for in your life, you have eyes. If you lost your eyes, would you be sad? Then why not be grateful to have them now? Are there people who love you? Are there people who helped you? Have you had mentors, friends? Do you have health? Do you have a career that makes you happy? You have a dog or a cat. Find something to connect with that you feel grateful for. This is critical. This formula is critical.
We tend to understand the things that we are unhappy with.
Yes.
But we have to force ourselves sometimes to give thanks every day for the things that we're grateful for. So yes, gratitude is a big part.
Action, gratitude, intention. You have to have a clear sense of what you want. That's your goal. That's your goal. Remember, we worked out what it was that you wanted to accomplish, what it is that you needed to be. These are your intentions. And you announce it to yourself at the least. You have the courage to speak the thing that you want. I want love. When I got down on my knees and said, God, I understand the game, that I don't want to be that guy. What I want is someone I can love and be myself with and embrace, and just a partner in life. I had announced my intention to the universe. You understand that? Now, yeah, I have a chance of being disappointed if I don't get it. But the instant you admit that you want something, haven't you ever noticed you buy a new car, suddenly you start seeing that model car everywhere?
Everywhere.
You know, if you buy a particular type of clothes, you start seeing other people wearing those clothes everywhere. It's a function of what's called the reticular activating mechanism, the part of your brain that once it knows that something is going to bring you pleasure or move you away from pain, it will start looking around in your environment to find things that will help you get there.
That's why writing down the list, and I know a lot of you have been working on your lists, is very important. Understanding and feeling like you can proclaim what it is you actually want in a partner.
Absolutely. And the last thing is conviction. That means confidence. You have to believe that your actions can and will bring you pleasure, move you away from pain. Because if you don't believe that you can have it, if you don't believe that your efforts will bring you anything positive, you will sabotage yourself. You will not take action. Why should you waste your energy doing something if it's not going to work anyway?
The great writer and feminist Roxane Gay tweeted the other day that she had an ad for an assistant editor. And she was so surprised by how many people started their cover letters with the words, I'm probably not the right person for this job, but I probably don't have the right experience level, but. And she was like, why would you put that in your cover letter?
It's like a salesman going to, house. You probably don't want to buy a vacuum cleaner from me. Or like a little girl. You probably don't want to buy any Girl Scout cookies from me. I actually heard that. And I stopped. And because I know that
She said that?
Yes, I know that the Girl Scouts sell cookies not to raise money, but to change hearts, but to give life skills. And I actually stopped. I talked to her. I said, let's try that again. I want you to have confidence that your cookies are delicious, that your cookies are wonderful. Her mom was in the back listening. She was like, had this big grin on her face. I said, I want you to stand up and I want you to be proud of your cookies. And now I want you to tell me, I've got the most delicious cookies, and I think that if you tried them, you would be so happy. And she started grinning and kind of laughing, getting past that nervousness, and she did. And I bought 2 boxes of her damn cookies.
Boom, that's what you want. You want people to buy your cookies.
That's right, so to speak. So I want you to understand this formula has boiled down years, decades of study into various self-improvement things. I could go deep into any one of these 4 things, but I will just ask one important question. And for those of you who have not heard me talk about this before, this is important. If you have heard me talk about it, please don't volunteer an answer. And the question I ask is, it's a formula. It said magic equals action times gratitude times intention times conviction. I want you to think for just a second, why is this a multiplicative rather than an additive equation? Now, I'm not going to push it too far, but if you're watching this as a video, you might want to pause and think about this. But for the rest of you, I'm going to tell you what it is. What I want you to do is to give each of these 4, action, gratitude, intention, and conviction, a numerical value between 0 and 9. In other words, how much action do you take? How much gratitude do you feel? How clear are your intentions? How deep are your convictions? From 0 to 9.
You didn't know there would be math, but there's math.
That's right. We do math. We do all kinds of stuff here. So here's the thing. The difference is that if you added that up, you could have a 0 here and a 3 here and a 9 there and an 8 there. And it all adds up. That's not so bad.
Yeah, 25, 30 maybe.
But if you multiply them times each other, if you have a 0 in any category, the entire equation becomes a zero. That means if you don't take action, if you don't feel gratitude for what you already have, if you don't know what you want, if you don't believe you can get it, if you have a zero anywhere, the entire equation collapses. But if you can have at least a 1 in any of those categories, take a little bit of action, but then you feel a lot of gratitude and your intentions are really clear, and you find a way to maybe
you're
only
trying to build up your conviction.
Yeah, you've only got a 3 in conviction.
Even, maybe
That's
2.
right. But as long as you've got at least a 1 in every category, you start climbing the ladder. So you take a look, you make sure you've got at least a 1 in every one of those categories. Okay. And the next thing that I want to do is to give you a specific way to implant this in your life forever. But before I do that, T, was something you wanted to say?
I am noticing that Patricia wrote something lovely in the comments section, and I wanted to call attention to that.
Okay.
If you don't mind, Patricia.
No, go for it.
In my journal, 4 things I am grateful for each day. First month I did this, I felt stupid. Then I started feeling a pattern emerge. Several things that made up that 4 were things that I had worked hard to create. Then I felt a creative part of myself reawaken, smiled at that, and said out loud, this is my journal. I can write anything I want in it, and it is not stupid.
I think it's beautiful.
Great.
And if you value courage, creative intelligence, whatnot, then you're looking for someone else who values the same thing. I was reading a thing recently where someone said, what is it that is immediately attractive about a woman? I said, creative intelligence. That you show me someone with an active mind who's creative, and immediately I want to know who they are. Immediately. And if there's physical attraction too, then it's like va va boom. And if she likes me too, it's like back in the day. Way back. Just theoretically.
Present tense, past tense, people. It's like a grammar lesson. Go on.
So if you have the courage to write down, to start creating your life, and if creativity is important to you, you are setting a bonfire on a hill. You're saying, here I am. I'm a creative person. Are you a creative person? You are singing your song in the forest. Another bird looking for the bird that has that same song can now find you. You are driving in a taxi cab with the light on. You're saying, here I am, by your actions. Who are you? Are you the kind? Well, we're not going to spend the rest of our lives together, but let's talk. It's like you're fascinated with your own life. You're on fire with the creation of a dream that you have. That intention, that conviction, that aliveness, that energy. That thing is you, and there is someone out there looking for you.
Absolutely.
You only need one. You only need one
at a time.
Is there something you want to tell me?
No, darling. So anyway, I love that. That thing about no zeros in any category.
No zeros.
Even the math phobic like me can relate to that. So that's a great analogy, sweetie. Even if you can do only a little bit in one category.
Only a little bit. So magic.
A little bit of something in every category.
Equals action times gratitude times intention times conviction. You can apply this to anything you want to do in your life, but I'm going to encourage you to apply it right now to the most important thing in the world, which is keeping your heart happy, which is finding joy. Everything else is just a means to the end of finding joy that is lasting, in alignment with your ethics and values. Hopefully that is a contribution to the world. Once your own cup is full, the next thing people want is to find someone to contribute to. So let's take a look at how do we integrate this into our lives. Now, the workbook that will accompany this course will go more deeply to all these things. We're going to also, talk about these things over on the social media site. But let's take a look at it right now, and it is the morning ritual. So the morning ritual is this, and these are the steps of it. And trust me, it's complex, but once you actually start doing it, it'll be a lot easier. So you choose some physical action: running, walking, rebounding. I use Tai Chi myself and I do this 6 days a week, every morning.
He does.
Okay. So while you are moving, while in motion, this is for 10 to 20 minutes, you chant affirmations aloud for each of the following in this order: gratitude for what you already have. It's like, I'm so grateful for a strong, healthy body. I'm so grateful for a strong, healthy mind. I'm so grateful for the people who love me and trust me. I'm so grateful for my brilliant, beautiful wife, Tananari, and my darling daughter and my wonderful son. I literally flood myself with the emotions of gratitude. Okay. Then you take conviction and clarity for what you're going to perform today, today's task with power, the steps you're going to take today. I accomplish the three most important tasks of my life. I will do this, whatever it is that you need to do.
If you don't know how to design it yourself, Steve found a great journal, which we can use as a resource.
Yes.
On the page. Well, let's just show you like your private business.
It's okay. They can't read it.
That helps you, ask you these questions, first thing in the morning, one thing I can get excited about today is someone who needs my A game today is someone who I could surprise with a note, gift, or a sign of appreciation is things.
That's right.
That's one of my favorites because that's something
great.
I often forget to do.
So it's and that's from a guy named Brandon Burchard, and I'll put that resource out there. So let's take a look here. So you start with a physical activity. You are moving, and while you're doing it, you're saying affirmations at the same time. I'm so grateful for. I will accomplish the three most important tasks today. Then you go into future gratitude, and this is very interesting. This is the tricky part. The things that you're already grateful for exist in your life. It's like, you have I'm so grateful that I finished college. I'm so grateful that I have this job. In other words, you find, how do you talk when you're talking about something that is already true? Because what you're about to do is you're going to state your intentions about what's going to happen, and you need to say it with the same clarity and confidence that you said when you talked about something that already exists. That that your future gratitude, you say it as if you've already accomplished it. I earn $120,000 a year. I weigh 180 pounds of solid muscle. I'm happy in a healthy, passionate relationship. Whatever that is. So remember, the first thing is you talk about the things you're grateful for. You talk about the things you're going to do today that are going to take you to where it is that you want to go, and you express real confidence in it. Now, the last step is that you affirm confidence that you have the capacity to do these things joyfully. All I need is within me now. All the courage I need is within me now. All the clarity I need, all the energy I need is within me now. While you are moving, that's the critical thing. You have to do it while you're moving. And if you have issues with depression, you have issues with keeping yourself motivated, then increase the intensity of the physical thing you're doing. Instead of just walk on a hill. Okay, do something to increase the effort, because as you raise your energy, you increase your ability to inscribe on your nervous system the new beliefs and values that you have. This is critical. This is going to be. You're going to have a chance to do a replay of this, and we'll also post it in the group, and it'll be in your workbook. But this is a lot of material. It's a lot of ideas. But for me, it's literally 10 to 15 minutes every single morning that I have anything to do where I have to have my function.
Right.
If I need to perform, I want to perform well. Now, one of the things I wanted to do is to show you, I have a couple pictures here. Most people at best are like a magnifying glass. They take the things that they're trying to do and they focus it with their will, maybe a goal, and they take it and they can burn a hole in a piece of paper with the light of the sun. Mm-hmm. But it's possible to go beyond that. And beyond that is a laser.
Oh.
And that's what happens when you are aligning your mind, your body, and your emotions. And when you do the morning ritual, when you are moving and chanting and focusing on what it is you believe in, when you are holding your face and your voice so that everything is in alignment, if you will do that for just 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, it becomes easier for you to feel when you are off the beat, when you are not functioning at that level. You'll start noticing, wait a minute, my posture isn't right. Wait a minute, the language I'm using is negative. Wait a minute. Listen to my voice.
I'm
Wait a
walking with
minute.
my eyes
Wait a minute.
cast down, or
That's
I'm
right.
not listening when other people are talking.
When you walk through a doorway, there should be a sense of your body is moving. Your emotions are there. You're heading where it is that you want to go. You are moving yourself toward being the person who can have the love that you need and want. And if you are still shy, if it's hard for you, guess what? You're going to be with somebody who might be a little shy. Or maybe they'll have confidence in an area where you are shy, but lack of confidence in the area where you are strong, and now you're complementary.
You just have to have faith that that person is out there for you,
and
a willingness to do the work, and while you're doing the work, enjoy the new you along the way.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at the homework that we have for you. Okay, so we talked about the hero's journey. We've talked about those things. We don't need to go over that again today. So your homework is simple. Okay, you're going to design your magic formula for love. You've already done the homework. Who do you need to be in order to have the person that you desire? Or at least to turn yourself into the human being that you really, really wanted to be. Remember, that's what it's really about. Not about finding someone else. It's about being who you really are. Second, you design your morning ritual of motion, emotion, and mental focus.
My sister works on an exercise bike every day. This would be the perfect thing for her to do while she were on her exercise bike. But find the version of physical motion that works best for you.
Okay. So you choose a physical motion that's, designed to increase energy and to lock in these new beliefs. Okay. So it's like you're going to raise your energy level. One of the things you have to do if you want to change your behavior patterns is that it's part of the behavioral modification program. You identify the pattern that you want to change. You identify what you want to change it to. You raise your energy level, practice the new program, fail successfully. In other words, you notice what went right, what went wrong, make a correction, start over again. You do that loop over again. The mistake that people make is that they don't raise their energy level before they try to do something new. You can't teach an old dog new tricks because the old dog is tired.
Wake the dog up.
Wake the dog up. That's right. So you do the morning ritual daily for at least 6 days a week. You keep track of your success and failures. Journal this stuff. Moods and productivity. What you will find if you will do this for 1 month, just 1 month, and keep a journal of what happens, you will find out you are getting more work done and having more fun doing it than you would believe, because everything you're doing will start being connected to the goals that you have, the future you want to create. When you know why you want to do something and how this is making you the person you want to be, it is easy to motivate yourself to do it. Motivation is in proportion to the degree to which you see this is going to get you what you want. You're not doing it for your mom or your dad or society or anything else. You're doing it because of your heart.
Yes.
In order to bring love into your life and maybe a lover into your life.
And in that way, you are committing to living your life with joy and energy.
That's your homework. That's it. This is what we've given you is a lifetime of work. We've given you tools that will go so deep if you will use them. So what we're going to ask you to do next week, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the questions that people have been asking us about these things.
Those questions on our social media site, on Facebook. Also, once we start next week, you can post your questions right in the
That's right.
comment section.
And we will answer any questions that you have, because my commitment, we have other things to do with our Saturdays. We have other things to do with our time. This is important to us because I believe that love is the most important thing in the world. I just love seeing people being happy. I love seeing people heal. I love seeing people find each other in the world. And I hope that you'll trust me enough to let me guide you through some really interesting territory that you may not have even known existed within yourself and within the world as it really is. Not the politicized nonsense, not the fear-based, nattering at each other, not the war, but the garden of just love and creation. What would you like to say, T?
I just remember a long journey, and I know all of your journeys will not be the same by any means. Your journey will not mirror our journey. You will have different revelations and in different ways, but these are the techniques and the kind of mindfulness that can supplement if you needed therapy. If you are suffering from what you consider serious depression, please don't let anything we're saying be a substitute for talking to a therapist.
No, have a therapist in your resource circle, a coach,
and
friends,
a psychiatrist.
As many different resources as you can get.
This is supplementary. This is
right.
This is just to help out.
We're coaches, not doctors.
Absolutely.
Coaches help. Doctors heal broken bones. Once the bone is healed, you can get out on the track and start running. So we're about helping you understand your stride, your goals, focusing your energy. But if there's something that's actually broken, go to the doctor first, and then include that. Share what we're talking about here with your therapist, with your counselor. You deserve love. Give yourself the best chance possible of having it.
And believe that you can have love, because you can. So
that's the magic. You take action. Magic equals action times gratitude times intention times conviction. If you will make sure that you've got all four of those things every day of your life, you will transform your existence, and you will become somebody that somebody else out there is looking for. And
while you're on the path to finding your soulmate, be sure to enjoy all the warmth and love from those friends who are supporting you along the way.
There is no friend zone. There are only friends.
So everyone have a great weekend. We will see you again next week, and happy homework.
Take care.